Greetings and welcome, all you weary travelers and armchair philosophers. My name is Dan with a K, and the K is silent. I'm thrilled as usual for you to join us. We, all of us, are here to nerd out, to laugh, think a little bit, and just have a good time. On this channel, we will be discussing all things supernatural, paranormal, science fiction, and fantasy. You'll be hearing from my special guests who I invite on the show to share their answers to the topics I provide, and I think you're going to find them quite entertaining and maybe just a little bit informative. At the end of every episode, I invite you to write in your own answer so that you can participate as well. So now, I invite you to relax, grab a snack, unclench your jaw, and put up your feet and get ready to open your mind and test your beliefs as we explore high strangeness and the mysteries of the universe. Do you believe in luck? What does it even mean to be lucky? I think people who feel like they're lucky usually find it or it finds them in a noticeable way. Like showing up late for an appointment and finding that one open parking spot right in front of the building. Or maybe soldiers who were saved by a flask or stack of coins in their pocket when they were getting shot at. Or even like the time when I was on a roller coaster with my buddy and it went into a 360 loop and someone's vomit flew up and back right towards me and my buddy, but it missed us entirely and splattered everyone behind us. Ugh. But where do leprechauns fit in? Well, they fit in your pet carrier if they're really that little, but don't do that. Don't catch a leprechaun and stuff him in a crate. Be better than that. Don't bully him into giving you gold. Be better than that. Start it with a shared bottle and loosen him up a bit. Ask him about his day. Make him laugh. Get him all warm and fuzzy. Speaking of warm and fuzzy, let's ask my guests if they have any stories about leprechauns and luck and see what they have to say. Let's go. Greetings to you, Don David.
And a fine day to you, sir.
Hey, do you believe in luck and leprechauns?
I'll tell you a story. I once needed to have my boots resoled. Been wearing the same ones for years now. I went to the cobbler who'd done 'em before, only his shop had moved. The shop was empty. No lights, no sign saying where. I asked the butcher next door where the cobbler had gone. He said all he knew was that he moved away someplace north. I thanked him and went outside to think where I'd go next. And do you know that the cobbler's sign was back on?
What? What do you mean?
I mean just that. I scratched my head as I stood in front of the windows to see that the shop was filled with shoes and the like. Aye, and I couldn't see no one from the window, so I checked the door. It was unlocked. I went in and still I could hear the person, but I couldn't see where he was or who it was. I announced I was there, and from around the corner come out a stubby little fella with a scraggly red beard. He couldn't have been no higher than a bar stool.
What the cuss?
Aye, and you know he spoke to me. He said, I can see your boots are in need of repair. You want me to fix 'em, or do you think you can fare? His voice and eyes were different though, like his eyes were so deep and dark. I felt like he was reading my mind. It was very strange. I carefully sat down on a small chair while keeping my eyes on him, and he took a seat facing me on his little stool. He looked around and he says to me, answer me these riddles 3, and I'll give you what you ask of me. The more you have of it, the less you see. What is it? Easy, I thought. I heard this one before. Darkness, I say. What always runs but never walks, often murmurs, never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats. I had to think for a minute, and I thought and I said, aye, a river. He grins and rubs his hands together, something fierce. Finally, he says, I have 5 fingers and all that you seek. What does my hand say to your cheek? A bit stumped, I look down into my sides, and as I look up at him, I see this grubby little hand come right at my face and smack! He slaps me right good. I wake up and I'm drooping over the toilet. I must have booted and rallied a few times because I'm being slapped in my face by one of me mates. Wake up, You've been gone for a nary big you lightweight. You like that, Dan? I can spin a good tale as anyone. Right. And I've never seen a leprechaun before, but if they are real, I'd sure like to catch one and get his gold.
Hello, JD.
Mr. Dan, what's cooking?
Well, in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day coming up, I wanted to ask you, do you have a story of amazing luck or leprechauns?
Well, I ain't never seen no leprechaun before, but I have seen something funny at the end of a rainbow. I'll send it to you so you can put it up. But yeah, yes, I do have a story for you about some amazing luck and coincidences.
Yeah, I got your photo earlier. I'm gonna put it up now. Is this real, JD?
Yes, sir. Buddy of mine sent it to me. Look at it. If that ain't a sign of good luck and a coincidence, I don't know what is. Well, except the story I'm going to tell you now. This happened some years ago. I was on a hunting trip with my buddy. We were driving in my truck through the mountains to get where we were going. Wait, let me back up a minute. I got to tell you about what happened before we left. See, we wasn't supposed to go that weekend. The weather was supposed to get pretty wet, so we were going to hold off. But then that morning the forecast looked fine, so anyway, my wife told me something real strange before we left, and it only made sense after what happened. Hey, Mr. Dan, do you believe in coincidences?
Actually, JD, I strongly believe that coincidences are not just coincidences, that there's a meaning in it. And I want to do another episode on the power of coincidences and greater forces.
Fantastic. Invite me in on that one, would you?
Oh, for sure. You know I will. But keep going. You were saying?
So, we stopped at a local mom and pop place along the mountain highway to pick up some cold drinks and snacks. This place, it was the last thing before we get deeper in the mountains with no other places to stop. We go in there and I'm looking for the beer while he goes looking for the snacks. I swear I look up and down and I can't find nothing. I go up to the counter and ask the man what the deal is. He says they done got cleaned out the night before by the locals who were expecting a big storm. Golly, man, I tell him. Just then, my buddy pops up holding a 6-pack of bottled Rolling Rock. They must have missed this, he laughs and sets it on the counter. Well there, says the old man in the shop, I guess you got lucky. My buddy piles on all the snacks he picked up and I toss a couple other things on the counter. The man rings us up and my buddy goes to pay with his card. We have an arrangement. Whoever drives, the other gets all the goodies. The man then says, cash only. They don't take cards. My buddy pulls out his wallet and adds up the cash. I can see that we're just short, so I dig into my pockets just a bit out of habit, even knowing I don't even normally carry cash on me. My wife sees to that. So, what do you know? I pull my hand out and there's $2 in my hand. So, I try to give it to him. He pushes my hand away and says, $2? You put your money away, JD. You save those couple of bucks for something else. So instead, he puts something back and we get rung up and head to the truck. I don't really like rolling rock, I tell him. He laughs and says, beggars and choosers, buddy. I give him a nod and a grin. Next thing you know, we're heading up the mountains. So we're winding along this highway and suddenly we smell a skunk and it's real strong. I mean fresh. We don't see it, but it's powerful. And the next thing is that we round the corner and out of nowhere, from the forest on the side of the mountain, not one, but two bucks. I have to slam on the brakes. We screech to a halt and the deer don't even move. They just stare at us.
Wow.
Now, I've seen plenty of deer crossing the road, but these two were magnificent. I mean, these are the types we look for, and here they are right in front of us. What was weird was you just don't ever see two grown bucks together like that.
Yeah?
And just then, my buddy hits my horn, and they don't budge. That is unusual. Never seen it before or since.
So what do you do? What were you thinking?
Well, we sure as heck ain't gonna shoot 'em. That's not sportsmanlike. But then this happens. They slowly start approaching us. So I put it in reverse, and the mountain starts to grumble and shake, and my buddy shouts, "Look out!" And a huge boulder comes smashing down on the highway between us and the deer. I never told my buddy this. He wouldn't believe me anyway, but I'm gonna tell you, because I know you'll appreciate it. See, before we left, my wife gave me a kiss and said, "Don't get skunked." I laughed at the time and said, "You know I always bring something home." And at the same time, I remember her reaching in my pockets when we were hugging goodbye, but thought nothing of it till after we almost died. Brother, did you see the breadcrumbs? It didn't come to me at first, but later that night it hit me. Well, almost like that boulder.
Yeah?
See, we weren't even supposed to go because of the weather. So my wife says, "Don't get skunked." And we get skunked. She puts $2, $2, in my pocket. I never carry cash on me. I try to give it away to my buddy, and what does he say? He says, "You save those $2. Then we see two of them. Almost hit them, but we don't. Even though they sprung out of nowheres right in front of us. You save those bucks. My buddy finds a Rolling Rock beer, which is the only beer left, and I tell him I don't even like Rolling Rock. We're nearly killed by a Rolling Rock. And what or who were those bucks? And why did they jump out in front of us and refuse to move? Why were there two of them? Why did they move toward us instead of run away? Where did they come from? Where did they go?
This all really happened?
You know me by now. I got no reason to make this up. And what's more is ever since then, it's got me thinking more and more about coincidences and made me pay more attention to things around me. Oh, and the cherry on top? I took those $2 and bought some scratchers later. I won 500 bucks. Took my wife out and gave her the rest. She would have made sure to get it from me either way. Happy wife, happy life, right?
What do you think? Is there something about your perspective or outlook on life that makes you lucky? Are there greater forces, maybe even divine spiritual forces, guiding us at times to help us out of danger? And if so, shouldn't we be paying more attention to our environment and our interactions around us? For maybe signs and forewarnings? Are coincidences more than just mere happenstance? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a dreamer with some weird ideas and a wild imagination. But maybe you have a story. Tell us your fun story. Share it with us in the comments below. And you know what? Tip us a thumbs up if you like this episode. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and share this channel with anyone and everyone you think would get a kick out of it. Once again, I'm Dan with a K. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. Until next time, stay frosty and everything will be okay.